Watching or listening to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show, hosted by Audrey Bell-Kearney, bringing you your daily dose of business and technology to educate, empower, and inspire small business owners. Be sure to subscribe to the show today.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, all my Gwinnetians out there in Gwinnett land, all of my friends around the world. It's a beautiful day here in Gwinnett County. Right now, it's 74 degrees, going to a high of 81. So glad to be here with you this morning. Got a guest coming on shortly, but we're going to be talking about AI. Just for those of you who don't know, if you're in the Georgia area, the metro area, the tri-state area, we are having the Georgia AI Summit on May 21st. Please go to GeorgiaAISummit.com for more information. The Gwinnett Women's Chamber is the sponsor of that event, along with the Gwinnett County Economic Development. So we're excited about that. We did it last year. We're doing it again this year. And let me tell y'all, the changes that have been made from last month to this month is just crazy. And I look at I'm in AI every day. Like I'm doing something in the space every single day. And I can tell you that it's moving so fast. And what we want people to understand is that you got to get on the train. I know people are deathly afraid of getting on the train, but you got to get on the train, especially if you're in business. If you are a business owner and you're not leveraging AI right now to help you with your business, you're missing out on a lot. But I guarantee you, you are also behind your competitor. You are behind them because they have said, I'm gonna adopt and adapt because I have to. It's almost like when the internet first came out. I don't know if you guys remember it. I'm about to date myself, but when the internet first came out, I remember AOL. Anybody remember AOL? I don't even know if AOL is still around. My email was abm30@aol.com. That was my first email. Yes, I remember it. abm30@aol.com, and it may be somewhere out there active in the world. I don't know. That was my first email. And I remember it like yesterday, and it was such a long time ago. We have come so far in the last 20 something years. I remember getting my very first computer. It was in 1994. My brother had my brother had an American Express card. And if those of you who carry American Express and you've been carrying it for a long time, you know this. He had an American Express card, and that American Express card, by him being an American Express card holder, they would send him out a catalog every month with all of these things that you could order on your American Express card. He had one month they sent out a catalog. It had a computer in it. He had the computer in the catalog. I ordered the computer. That was my first computer in 1994. And since that day, I have been that person who loves tech. I'm the person that my family calls when something goes wrong with the computer. You know, the internet is not working right. I remember one time his computer wasn't working correctly. I thought maybe the kids had waste something on it. It wasn't plugged in. So I had to go to his house to find out why the computer wasn't working. It wasn't working because the kids had waste something on the computer. But anyway, that's how things change. AI is moving faster than the internet moved. AI is moving faster than the internet moved. And if you are a small business owner, a medium-sized business owner, heck, a big business owner, if you're not leveraging these tools, you are missing out and you're going to fall behind your competitors. So my guest today is Mr. Aby Varma, and he's going to be talking to us about marketing and AI. I know people see they see like, videos and all of these different things, but there's so many tools to make your life so much more easier. He's going to come on. He's going to tell us, is AI replacing marketing? I saw a video this morning. They created the AI created such a beautiful ad. The lady had some kind of bottle of makeup or something, and she just hit an AI, and the ad was amazing. So he's going to come on. We're going to talk about his company, Spark Novus, which he's the founder, and he's going to tell us, like, is AI replacing marketing agency? And if they're not, what do you need to be doing? So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Aby to the stage. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Can you hear me well?
I can. Can you hear me okay?
I can. I just realized my mic is kind of to the side over here. I think I need to move it a little bit closer. Well, welcome to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Aby's going to be one of the speakers at the Georgia AI Summit. You guys are going to get a taste of what you're going to get at the summit. So, Aby, thank you so much. I know you are the founder of Spark Novus. First, tell us a little bit about your background, and then I want you to tell us, how did you come up with the name Spark Novus? Like, I love names. Like, I'm a naming kind of person. So a little bit about who you are, other than what I've already said.
Thank you so much, Audrey, firstly, for having me on the show. It's a pleasure and a privilege. So my background is I'm a lifelong marketer with two little mini deviations. So in the very early part of my career, I was in sales, and then as part of Spark Novus, I'm back in sales again. But I've always been close to sales. I feel marketing and sales organizations need to work very closely together. So in a lot of ways, homecoming back for me. And then I was a developer. I was a web developer for 6 years. So I feel almost privileged to have all sides of the equation when you're looking at a business, especially a technology business where sales, marketing, and the product itself. So that's a little bit about me. And then about Spark Novus, what we do is we work with marketing organizations to help them adopt AI in a strategic, in a responsible way. And what does that mean? When I say strategic, it means making sure that you're adopting marketing in areas where it matters, right? Because it's so easy to get distracted these days. There's so many AI tools and you don't know where to start. And you can start with something which won't meaningfully have an impact on your business. So you want to make sure that you're focused on things that really impact your business in the correct way. So that's our definition of strategic. And then responsible, making sure that you're putting in all the guardrails and the training and the change management and the human side of it to make sure that you are adopting AI in the correct way. And then as far as the name is concerned, I love name stories myself. But Spark Novus, so Novus stands for new, so like new spark is essentially the genesis of it. And I feel with AI, it is just so foundational that I feel that it is such a foundational piece of technology where it's going to change everything, all aspects of business. And people have a lot of ideas, AKA the new spark, right? So I think there's lots of new ideas on how you could embrace and adopt this technology, and that's part of it. And there's a personal connection. My wife has got a marketing background. She used to own an advertising agency, ages ago, and it used to be called Spark Communications. So it's also kind of a new spark, right? So there's a personal angle and then the AI angle to it.
Yeah, I think I go back to when you say you used to do websites. It's so funny because I remember, I don't know if you remember this. So I started out when I got my first computer. I went to school to learn how to do websites, and I took a course. It was called SciSoft. But anyway, right after I got finished taking that course, Microsoft came out with Front Page. Do you remember Front Page?
Oh, I do. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Microsoft came out with Microsoft Front Page, and I went dead into like, okay, Microsoft Front Page and learn how to do this HTML. And I did. I've been doing websites, oh my God, since like 95. It's amazing right now. The things you can do with AI. I whipped up a
Sure.
website meeting a couple Saturdays ago, and I literally forgot about the meeting, and I had to do a presentation, and I wanted to do it with a website. When I tell you the meeting was at 11, I remember at 9. By 10:45, I was completely done with the website. It looked amazing because I
Yep.
used a tools. So I know that these tools are out there, and I know that some of them are super simple if you know the basics. Like I have a background in web design, so I know the basics. So I know like, okay, this is not working right. I need to change this. But the tools are making it a lot easier to people. Like I've seen people who said, I had a VA, but then I did AI automation and I felt bad because I went from paying $1,000 a month to paying 60. So tell us about, is it going to replace marketing agency or, or do they need to be learning these things so they can keep people in place? Will it downsize the organization because of the tools?
Yeah, I mean, great question. I think the it's definitely going to be a paradigm shift in the way people sort of think about these things. So, from a brand standpoint, I definitely see there's an opportunity with AI for people to do more with less, right? So the same people that you may have, if you're a solopreneur, definitely more capabilities for you to leverage AI. And believe it or not, it feels like there's a lot going on with AI, but it's still early days of AI, and we have agents like AI agents come in where it would give people autonomy to where today you can go to ChatGPT and ask it a question, and it can give you a response or have you write stuff and everything. But then you still have to, you're the one who's grabbing it and posting it on your website or email marketing or social media or whatever. But we're going to get to a point where the whole cycle could be done in a autonomous way. It is automated today. It's not autonomous, but we'll get to that from automation to autonomous in, not the very far future. So yeah, go ahead.
Explain what that means, automated and autonomous, so the people that are watching can understand what does that mean when you say autonomous and automated.
Yeah. So
The difference.
automated is a human being saying, if this, then that. So if there is a new row of data that appears in my Google Sheet, go grab the text from that row and post it on LinkedIn, right? So there's rules set up, there's connections set up by a human being, and you sort of establish the trigger points of, what are the steps? Grab it from the Google Sheet, post it on social media, then send me an email saying it's been posted. So that's an example of automation. Would that exist today? There are thousands of tools. There's Zapier and Make.com and all these different automation tools that exist, right? Autonomous is a point where you would have human guardrails, but the AI system is smart enough to do things by itself. So that the AI will know that I'm a business that works with marketing organizations to help them adopt AI. What's the type of what are the kind of topics that may be appealing to my audience? It would have a sense of that, and then based on that, it could come up with content autonomously without me asking it to come up with content. It could post content autonomously, and of course, humans would still have the ability to sort of have kind of a checkpoint in the middle that, oh my gosh, I'm nervous that I'm going to let AI do it autonomously. I still want a checkpoint where AI checks with me and says, hey, this is what I came up with. Are you okay with me posting it? And if I say yes, good to go, and then it'll post it. So, but in not the distant future, I think we're heading that way where you could do some of these things autonomously with the right kind of checkpoints aligned to your kind of sensibilities or your level of comfort. So that journey from automation to autonomous is already started. And so in the big arc of change, I would say that from a brand standpoint, certainly lots of opportunities for these technologies to come in-house and for teams to do these things, especially teams that are smaller teams can do more, with less. And then on the agency side of the house, if any of your listeners are agencies, I would definitely want them to start thinking about that, right? Where, our agency is going to disappear completely. I don't think so. I think there's always going to be a need for agencies, and agencies provide sort of two distinct functions, in my opinion, right? So one is innovation, whether it's ideas, things that if I'm an agency and I've done that with 10 other clients and I'm coming to you, this cross-pollination of ideas and innovation that can happen, which the agencies are bringing, which is sort of uniquely human, right? Like the aspect of innovation and new ideation. And then there is the sort of the grunt work of execution. So I think agencies would be there, but I think the value proposition as an agency owner or agencies should really be thinking about what that is going to morph to in the future needs to be definitely thought of. Like, are you going to be more strategy oriented and bring more human values, which AI cannot replicate? And if you are frankly a good partner to your clients, if you're an agency owner, a good partner to your client, you almost have to recommend the best way of executing. And if AI is the best way of executing, then responsible agencies should be doing that for their clients. All that said, we still are at a point where in order to operate AI, you need knowledge and people. So I think you still want to make sure, whether it's internal teams, they need to be trained up. working with agencies. You could still have agencies who are sort of AI savvy. They have the access tools and technology to know how to deliver. So I think there is still going to be there's going to be room for agencies to exist, but the dynamic of what they do and how they deliver and how they charge for their services, because they could be, today they could be writing, 10 blogs a week and charge you by the hour. Well, with AI, the hourly model may not work, because they could do the same time and the same work in a quarter of the time. So how do you start doing it? So it's a paradigm shift, and businesses need to rethink that.
It's so funny because I run I run the chamber, the Gwinnett Women's Chamber. So I run that, but I also run Good Morning Gwinnett. And I used to do all of the content. I used to sit down and think about what I'm writing. I would sit down and I would write it. And when I started to look at AI and started to pivot, I was like, I need to pivot. Let me tell you what I did, Abby. I went to ChatGPT and I created a GPT because to me, I feel like because jobs are being replaced so rapidly, like UPS said they're laying off 20,000 people. Intel is laying off 10,000. It's crazy. And I want people to start thinking like, okay, listen, I'm gonna have to do something. I need to do something because I don't know if I'm gonna have a job. Now, my daughter's an IT engineer, right? And I tell her, look, you can't get comfortable. Nobody can get comfortable. So what I started doing on the website was creating these business blueprints. So people can go to Good Morning Gwinnett and look at all these business blueprints. But I was like, I need the blueprint to be the same every time based on the industry. So I went to ChatGPT and I created a GPT just my blueprint. I put it all the parameters. So now when I put in the topic, it just creates a blueprint for me. And I go back and add in images and graphs and things like that.
Yep.
It's amazing. Now, a lot of people and companies aren't ready to adopt, right? So you're the CEO, you need it, but then you got your people who are saying, I don't need that because they feel threatened. When you go into a company and you have to convince like the employees, you got the CEO because that's why you're in the company. But the employees are kind of like, nah, because if I train the AI, it's going to replace me. How do you handle that? And how do you get them to feel more comfortable so they can start to look at, we need to be doing these things so we can keep a job?
No, great question. I think that is the single most important question that comes up when we are working with our clients, right? Like, because you were 100% right. People are worried that, oh my gosh, AI is going to take my job. And so I think the way I address that, especially with leadership, with CEOs and CMOs, is I'll say it all starts with literacy and education and awareness, right? You're fearful of what you do not understand, right? At the end of the day. So to me, I would tell people that, hey, make sure that you are investing time in getting people, and there's two aspects of the literacy. So you invest time in getting people trained up, the foundations of AI. What is AI? What is an LLM? What is a RAG model? What is prompting? What is a custom GPT? All those things that, the people who are kind of have immersed themselves in this world, who may be aware of it, take for granted. But then the other people who do not know anything or are in very early stages and may not be aware of it don't know, and they haven't taken the effort to kind of self-learn, and the company is not sort of investing in them. So that to me is sort of a very heavy recommendation for marketing leaders. On the employee side, I would just say my usual kind of approach to AI adoption is change management as part of it. And I tell employees that, hey, this is going to be the way of the future, right? Like, I'm old enough to know that there's a time when work was happening without the internet, right? So I remember that time, and I can't go back and think about that time like, wow, we used to do that. Like a fax machine, what the heck is that? Like, if you think about that right now, I have teenage boys, and that's sort of so alien to them. So in similar fashion, I think there's going to be a time where, whether we like it or not, that's just going to be the norm, right? Like all the software, just take a very simple thing from email to web browsing to whatever standard things for work that people do. They already have AI, and more of it is coming. So whether you do something or not, there's going to be AI all around you, and you can put your head in the sand and feel like there's nothing else happening around you, which would be a mistake. So my advice is for employees to, even if your company is not doing that, invest in yourself. It's okay. Like, there's There's hundreds of free courses out there. There's in-person courses. Like we train people, as part of what the services that we provide. So there's so many learning opportunities, that people have. So to me, I think the job situation, I feel that in the from a macroeconomic standpoint, I think there may be the traditional jobs may go away, but there'll be a whole host of new jobs from an AI standpoint. So I think there'll be a net positive, in the economy, from that perspective. But in terms of individual jobs, I mean, for those of you who watched Mad Men, typist used to be a job back then, right? Like that's not a
Yeah.
thing anymore. So to me, there's going to be a time now with AI where some of those traditional jobs may disappear because it's just more efficient and easier for AI to do. And I also see that there's going to be a move towards kind of a job profile where you'll be a generalist in whatever function and you'll have a bunch of AI helping you. So from a marketing standpoint, you may be a general marketer and a campaign person, but you have AI to write, to do copywriting for you and create videos for you and do a podcast for you and da 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 da, like all those other functions. Not saying those experts are not needed. You would still need experts in very sort of high intensive, high end type things, but your general 101 marketing type things, you would have, marketing generalists with a whole bunch of AI/agents to kind of help you and extrapolate that to any function. That's going to be the norm. So all that to say, if you are in leadership, invest in your people, get them literate, and that's one part of the equation. The second part of the equation is address it openly, right? About the whole, the empowerment, making sure that you are committing to empowering them with the AI knowledge, and it's not about replacement. And then, as the economy and as jobs evolve, and the quote unquote typists will disappear, and you have new stuff, new technology comes in, train your people, upskill your people, recast their jobs if you think that their jobs are kind of going to go away. So there's ways of mitigating it. But the one thing which you cannot do on either side of the equation is ignore it. You cannot put your head in the sand and just be like, oh, it's going to go away and I need to be fearful of it.
Got a question. They want to know if AI can outperform traditional marketing agencies in speed, scale, cost. What's one human skill or mindset the agency must double down on to stay relevant? Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a great question. Yeah. So from my standpoint, I would say it's things that are uniquely human. So things in terms of innovation, ideation, relationships, experiences, right? Those are things AI cannot replicate, right? So, for example, what we do, we host this community called the Marketing AI Pulse community, and we use a lot of AI to prep for those events. We do an event every quarter. And we use a lot of AI to come up with, our marketing campaigns and registration and, the usual stuff that a marketing agency may support a client for when it comes to an event. But what you cannot use AI for is the experience portion of it. Like when you are at the event, you still need the relationship building, the creating those experiences where, people are, in person networking with each other. It's no longer COVID, so there's people are interacting with each other in person. So those sort of uniquely human skills would be where agencies should certainly start thinking about their strengths, and then domain knowledge, industry knowledge. So that to me would be another great area where if you have an experience, if you're in financial services or healthcare or construction or whatever your industry is, even though there is a lot of AI can have a lot of institutional knowledge just because of the training data that it has, but how to uniquely leverage that is I think definitely a human strength. So for agencies, I would say focus on those things that keep you human and the domain knowledge for the verticals that you serve.
You talked about being a generalist, and that was definitely one of my questions because I've heard people say, "Oh, you should be a generalist," because back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I'm talking about 2 years ago. Not even like far, like pre AI. You had to be niche down, pick a niche all the way down. Now it's like, no, be a generalist. You need to be a generalist. So when you think about being a journalist, because I feel like I'm a generalist at this point. Like I have a bunch of. I looked at my business statement, and I have all these AI tools that I pay for. I pay for Replit, Lovable. I pay for 11 Labs. I pay for Suno. I pay for Block. So Bolt came out the other day, right, Abby? Bolt came out of my account. I said, "What? I canceled Bolt." So I got all of these tools that I stacked together to make these things I think are amazing. Maybe not to everybody else, but I think they're amazing. So I feel like at this point, and I've used Leonardo, and Canva is losing its mind over there. Canva putting everything. Canva's like Amazon. It's like the Amazon or whatever. So I have all of these things that I stack together to make all these amazing things. Talk about being a journalist and how to pick what to become a journalist of, because and Chat GPT, don't forget about that one. That's my main baby. I have all of these stacks that I put together, right? Because I do all of these things in this space. So I have all these things I put together. For someone who's listening right now, and they want to make sure that they can keep a job or they can run a smooth agency, how do they even know what stack to put together to become a generalist? Like, what does that mean? How to put it together?
Yeah, great question. It's should be centered around what is the capability that you want to have, and if you're an agency, what are the capabilities that you are delivering at the end of the day, right? So to me, definitely from an agency standpoint, there's the strategy part of it and the domain knowledge part of it, which I said is uniquely human. So that to me is sort of based on your expertise, your background, your experiences. So that was sort of the human part of it. But outside of that, like at the end of the day, if you think about what where AI can add the most value, you want to make sure that content and creative, like two broad buckets. And then within content, depending on your capability, you definitely need some sort of a foundational piece of technology like a chat GPT, like you're saying. So have an LLM in your back pocket to sort of help you with that. You could go super specialized. You could go with specific content tools like a Jasper .ai, or where especially if you're serving multiple agencies, where you can sort of toggle and saying multiple clients, where you can toggle and have different brands and brand voices sort of saved up. So you could use a generic tool like ChatGPT, which is very capable, especially using custom GPTs, or you could go with a specialist tool like Jasper, and there's 1,000 tools in between that, like for SEO or for social media copywriting or for social media publishing or whatever, all of those things, so that whole host of content tools out there, including translation for a lot of people where they're serving multiple markets. If you want to English and Spanish, that is becoming easier and easier by the day.
Yeah.
You still need a human in the loop, but still an important part of it. And on the creative side of it, again, a whole host of tools where if you're just doing, images, and obviously that is a core capability to be able to graphics and visuals and that sort of thing. Canva or Adobe would be one of the two suites that I would highly recommend. And then video. Video is one of those things where it's 2025 for crying out loud, and you really have to have that core video capability. So to me, I would say make sure you have a foundational editing tool. So you could use an Adobe Premiere, which is sort of the professional tool, but there are a lot of AI-based tools where you don't need to be an expert, like Descript, right? Where you can use that tool, and it's an amazing tool. Their name is always cracks me up. They call their AI sort of capability tool Underlord. So you could really use their tool to do some really cool stuff. And then from a video standpoint, there's text to video, there's Synthesia. You could also go avatars. There's HeyGen for avatars, where you could train up somebody in your likeness and have that create videos. That there's kind of a fine line whether you like that or not. And then there's derivative content. That to me is sort of coming out of DJing and music remixing content, right? Where you have a long form video and you want to chop it up into quote unquote snackable social media pieces, use a tool like Harmonic, where you can take, you know, the long form video and chop it up into pieces. And Harmonic is one of them. There's, you know, Descript does that. There's so many, you know, out there that will kind of take that long form video and chop it up into smaller pieces. So the foundational layer to me would be an LLM, a chat GPT, a content tool, a graphic tool, and a video tool. So those would be my foundational four. And then you can layer whatever else on top of that based on the services that you are providing.
So, guys, I hope you're listening to what we're saying here. Like, you need to become a generalist. And so, I was telling my friends, I was like, I feel like a mad scientist because I stack so much stuff together to create stuff. I forgot about Opus clips.
There you
So
go.
let me just tell you this. Once this video is done, what I will do it's streaming live right now on my YouTube channel. So what I'm gonna do is go to YouTube, get the link, go drop it in Opus clip. It's gonna cut it up into about 12 to 15 different small videos, shorts, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to schedule them to go out on all of my social media platforms. Why? Because I don't have time to sit there and do that. So Opus Clips is my friend. I forgot about that one. But I stack all these things together to make my life run smoothly. So I feel like I'm a generalist at this point. I can create websites in 2 hours or less, you know. And I give you a prime example, Abby. My daughter came to me yesterday. She sent me a list. She says, I want to do something for her daughter who's 6. She said, I want to do something because I want her to start building a personal brand. My granddaughter is 6, right? Her mom comes to me and say, I'm going to send you some stuff. Make me something. And I said, okay. So I looked at the list and I'm like, okay, I know exactly what I want to do. I said, what color? She said, pink and white. I said, okay, that's my granddaughter's favorite color. This is what I'm talking about. Like, we're talking to big businesses and agencies right now, but you have to start to think outside of the box. My daughter knows that when she sent me that list, it's going to get done. I said to her, I have you something by the end of the weekend, which I will, because I finished all my other projects and I have a AI workforce project that I'm working on. Well, no, I'm not working on, it's done. So it's AI workforce development.work. And that is a certification that the Gwinnett Women's Chamber has put together for people who want to go and learn the basics. We're going to be rolling out Spanish in the fall, so you can get certified as a ChatGPT user through GWC in the fall in Spanish. You can do it now in English. So I'm learning how to use all of these tools, and I have learned, and I'm just creating stuff that's going to help my community, stuff that's going to help the women in the chamber, things that are going to help people start new businesses. I'm working on something right now. It's kind of like a franchise style AI. I'm so excited about that because I realized I know how to put all these stacks together, and people are not going to sit there and learn how to do it, Abby. So I was like, you know what, Audrey, just put them all together and just sell them as a franchise style kind of AI, so people can listen. We don't have time to play around right now. Now let's talk about like how to make sure that companies are understanding like what's real and what's not real, because AI is great. I watched this guy the other day on YouTube, right? And it was his avatar. He didn't say it was, and I kept saying, I'm looking at him, and he had a lot of real features, but I think what threw him off was the movement of his hand. Like the hand kept
Mm,
like every like maybe minute, the hand would do the same gesture, and I was like,
mm.
now I call myself good at spotting these things. Like, is that and he did it again. I said, that is AI. The AI is so amazing right now. How can companies leverage the fact that Hey Jen, and you can go to Hey Jen and put in your picture, and as you talking, you can go. Can you start a brand new brand under your brand using these avatars and things like that to help you build these brands, even if you don't want to be on camera? I wrote a book years ago, Abby. This is hilarious. The cover is horrible. It's sitting on Amazon. And this was way, 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 way. I'm gonna talk about it had to be I was on YouTube since 2006. So it must have been probably 2013, 14. I wrote the book sitting on Amazon. The cover is horrible, but it's talked about how to leverage video even when you don't like to be on camera. Fast forward to the day, your face can be on camera and you don't have to be anywhere around. So talk about that, the avatars and the branding and putting all that implementing that into your company when you have a brand that's already built.
Yes. I think the foundationally, that is a choice that a company and a brand needs to make on setting your, internal rules and your values. There's no right or wrong answer, but it's very closely tied to the value of trust. And here's how I sort of think about it. And when we work with people, here's how we make them think about it, right? Where at the end of the day, you have all of these capabilities, but this is the responsible use of AI portion of thinking about it, right? Like you want to make sure that there are three principles of responsible use. So one is, what are you going to put into AI? Like, are you going to download your customer database and upload it into ChatGPT and have it do analysis? I'm not sure, because it's a lot of private information. You don't want all that stuff, in ChatGPT. So don't do that. But establish those sort of rules of, do's and don'ts of what you're going to put into AI. The second part is, what are your human obligations of what comes out of AI? Well, we know AI hallucinates, it'll make stuff up. So make sure you're doing a fact check and you're making sure that the output that you're putting out, you're putting your name behind it. So make sure you're checking all those things and it's actually correct. And if you work in any of these regulated industries, you're complying by the laws and all that kind of stuff, right? Because you want to make sure that the stuff that AI puts out is not in conflict of any of that. And the third and the most important part, directly related to your question, is disclosure. So making sure that you're telling people what is AI and what is not, and how you tell people and where you tell people makes a big difference, right? So to me, it could be in the terms and conditions and the legalese of your website, and you could be like, yeah, we use AI, all that kind of stuff. But in your example, if you're looking at you're looking at a AI, or you're looking at a video and you don't know it's AI, and then you were like, I suspect it's AI, and they did not do any disclosure. Ask yourself, would you trust that brand more or less? So to me, I think from a brand standpoint, it is super important where AI is overtly used, and we're going to get to a point where there's not going to be things where AI is not used, where it's going to be used everywhere. We're not there yet. We're still, early stages. But I still feel that in order to maintain the trust of your brand, or to earn the trust of your brand, you're making sure that you are disclosing that in a clear way. It doesn't mean that your video needs to be blinking, "Hey, AI was used," but make sure that when people are looking at a video, you can it discloses it. And then the other part of it is your guardrails and your appetite. So if you are the CEO of a big publicly listed company, for example, and your marketing department has generated a likeness using a HeyGen or whatever of you, well, it takes only one accidental miscontent piece to sort of derail the value of your company if you said something wrong or used wrong word and that sort of a thing, and you can end up with a PR nightmare. So to me, be very careful where the trust is also accompanied with authenticity, right? So making sure that you're authentic and in situate when to use it and when to disclose it, or critical decisions within your brand that you should sort of factor in. So if you're a individual person and you want to be an influencer and you're churning out hundreds of videos on TikTok and Instagram or whatever, and you feel there's a value of using AI to do it, well, great, do it. And it doesn't conflict with your values of authenticity, great, go ahead and do it, but make sure you are disclosing it, that you were doing it. But on the other extreme, if you're a publicly listed company, evaluate the risks that, hey, if this CEO's video of your marketing department with best of intentions put something out that is incorrect or whatever, one word here or there, that's a huge risk and not worth the effort. It might have been better to get a video crew and actually record it, with your CEO real video as opposed to an AI likeness. So those are all things that, as society evolves. And then there are the whole, the creative world, movies and stuff like that. We're already seeing that, like Avatar and all these movies, they've been using AI for a while, and you're going to see more and more of that. And especially, there may be actors who are no longer with us, where we're already hearing things that, hey, we're going to create a movie with people who are no longer with us, and people will accept it, but they all know that this is AI and that sort of thing. So the context is super important, and finding that balance between trust and authenticity are super important, and those are intrinsically tied to your values, whether it's a company or you as a person. And I think as long as you're true to those values and you use it, people will accept it.
Yeah. We are just now scratching the surface of AI. Do you think that communities are taking, like, regular everyday people in the communities? I know people think they go on Chat GPT and they know how to use AI at that point. Not really. You know how to use some parts of Chat GPT, not everything. Do you think that it's going to make a huge impact on communities? And do you think communities are going to be ready? Because I feel like I'm always talking about AI. Even when like right now we're doing the Georgia AI Summit, and I'm thinking, hey, you need to come out to the Georgia AI Summit, just the general community. You need to be there, like the room need to be packed. And people feel like, well, I know Chat GPT, and they leave it right there. They think they know. How do you think this is going to impact communities? And I think for me, when I look at jobs, I look at customer service. I feel like customer service is going to be the first industry hit because of the agents, right? I feel like it's going to be
Yep.
tore down. I feel like the next industry is going to be like the manual labor, like forklift drivers and those type of people who have to do that. I feel like they're going to be hit really hard. How do you think that? What do you think about community impact at this point, as it pertains to AI?
Yeah, I think that the first thing is that it's evolving at like breakneck speed, like we've never seen before, right? So the first thing is that do not get complacent, right? Like just because you know ChatGPT, just don't be like, oh yeah, I know it. And the thing with ChatGPT or any of these LLMs, they're designed to help you, so they will never say, hey, I don't know the answer. And if you're not the subject matter expert, you don't even know if the answer that they're providing is correct or not. And I'm just using a random example. Like I'm not a thoracic surgeon. So if I wanted an opinion and I go to ChatGPT and saying, hey, tell me about blah blah blah, which is pertaining to that field, which is not my field, and it'll give me some answer, and I'm like, oh wow, this is awesome, and now I'm gonna go post it on LinkedIn, and it may be completely wrong. So to me, I think A, make sure that you are not complacent about it. B, make sure that you're it the whole idea of AI and leveraging ChatGPT is not to sort of have you kind of fake it till you make it, but it's supposed to augment your and be an assistant to your skills, so that you can validate that whatever's coming out of AI is correct or not, right? So that's number one. Number two, I think the overall impact on communities, like you said, some of these, customer service, 100% agreed, or things which are conducive to robotics or manufacturing of all these things, may sort of go away over a period of time. So find, areas like as you're starting to, choose career people who are earlier in their career or, later in their career, find areas that you think are not prone to, obsolescence, because AI is going to be everywhere, but it's just a matter of where. So a great example is my older son goes to SCAD here in Atlanta, and his major was animation, and that was one of the things was top of his mind that, hey, Dad, by the time I graduate, animation may not be a thing because AI may just take over animation. We're already seeing that, and I don't think this was the only reason, but he switched his major to fashion because that was something he was passionate about and everything. And there is uniquely creative and human. There's aspects of storytelling and those sort of things which AI may have. It may be hard to kind of replicate. So that's an example of people earlier in the career. Look for careers that is helping you, or that is making you leverage more of your intellect and less of the grunt work, right? So where I think that would be sort of, you would be able to leverage AI for the grunt work, but you can't leverage AI to focus on replicating things that are creative and intellectual, which are uniquely human, like I said. And then the other part of the equation, if you're already in a career where you think you may get your job may get eliminated, or that function or the industry is sort of withering away, invest in yourself, invest in yourself, invest in yourself. Like get trained up, get certified, learn something new, and pivot. And I feel that age is not a barrier at all. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s, and I'm at the second half of my career, and now what should I do? And I'm like, nope, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whatever age you may be. I think if you still have, working years in front of you, make sure you are investing in yourself and redefining yourself. And it does not take a lot these days. All of these technologies companies are putting a lot of effort in, like I said, training and free training. You can go to Google or go to Coursera, any of these places which have lots of free training. And then, of course, if you are in a city where there's in-person training, nothing beats that, because you will learn not only from, your instructor or whatever, but you'll also learn from your peers, because you're not alone. Everybody's sort of in the same journey. So that to me is a great asset, where you're sort of interacting with other people who are experiencing, the same journey as you are in the same boat.
I know one of the things I have been telling people is to look at what you do already. Look, there are some holes in what you do. I guarantee it. There's a space there that you can fill. And what's interesting about the tools is that you can say, "Hey, let's say you're a dentist, right? I'm just throwing this out." And the reason I say this is because my husband works in pharmaceutical, and there's a big space. And I said to him, we need to create something for that. So of course, when I say we, that means me, because he does what he do and I do what I do. But there's a gap there in that space, and it's been there for a long time, and people just don't know how to fill it. So I said to my husband, we're gonna fill this space, and we're gonna do some things with this space. So I asked him some key questions about what he does in pharmaceutical manufacturing. He told me what they were, and I said to him, listen, we need to put this out there, because if a lot of our medicine is manufactured overseas, we're gonna have to start manufacturing here, because everything is a mess right now, right? So we had a great conversation about what that looks like, because he's been doing it since he was 18. He's been doing it over 40 years. So he knows it like the back of his hand, that space. But these people, you could be in a space that you know the same way. Ask Chat GPT, what are 5 gaps in this space that I can fill? Just ask,
Yep.
and it's going to tell you there's a gap here. And I say stuff like, is anybody doing that? And it'll tell me if someone is doing it, who's doing it, when they start. It's amazing. If is there a trademark on that? Is there a patent out there for that? And it'll tell you there's no patent, but someone is using the name, so you may want to be careful. Those type of things, you have to ask questions like that. And the reason I do that is because as the chamber president, I'm always looking at how I can help my members. I'm always looking at how we can help the community, how we can help them get more AI savvy, how we can figure out how to help them create businesses in the space, how we can help them understand how to get past AI for the jobs. At one of your events, Abby, there was I can't remember which one of the Google execs there were, but he was talking, I think it was the gentleman. He was saying how they were looking for somebody to fill a position, and that they kept being rejected. He was like over 500, and he was a hiring manager, over 500 applications, and all of them got rejected. And I've been telling the story ever since last year when you had the event. And he was saying he put his resume in, and the thing rejected him. It was crazy. He was the one doing the hiring, and the system rejected him. So we got to help people understand how to get past that. I don't know if you remember that, but I remembered it. Like, what? Because I've heard people say, I put out 500 resumes, no one is calling me. Well, that's because you can't get past the system that's screening you. So you need
Yep.
to understand what that looks like and how to get past it. So I'm constantly looking at ways to help people, whether they want to start a business, start a new career, find a new job, whatever that path is. That's what I focus a lot on. And I look for the holes in the industries. There are holes all over the place, and that's what you got to do. So we're gonna wrap it up. Listen, if you guys enjoyed this, you can come meet face to face with Aby on May 21st. He's going to be there in person, live in person. You can talk to him. We're going to have a great event. Go to GeorgiaAISummit.com to attend the Georgia AI Summit. You get to meet a great panel of people doing some amazing things in AI. I'm talking about from creating skin to like creating books in 10 minutes, like, and they're on Amazon selling. So you want to be in a room. You don't know who's going to be in the room if you're not there. So come be in the room. Aby, how can people reach out to you?
No, great. Thank you, firstly, for having me. This was such a joy and a pleasure. But you can go to sparknovus.com, which is our company website, and fill out a contact us form, or you can just find me on LinkedIn and hit me up, and it would be a pleasure to connect up.
Thank you again for the time. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate you every minute. I'll see you in a couple of weeks at the Georgia AI Summit. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You're welcome. All right, thanks. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview. This is just the tip of the iceberg of what we got coming up. As you can see, Aby knows his stuff. He knows his industry. He has amazing events. He had an amazing event last week that I attended. It was wonderful. About 200 people in the room talking all AI. And I know you guys hear us talk about it. You think they're just talking. It's not going to happen. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening right now. And you need to be a part of that. In some kind of way, you need to be a part of it. If you're starting a new career, there's an opportunity for you. If you feel like I don't have an idea, listen, you need to be a part of the Gwinnett Women's Chamber of Commerce because I got plenty of them to go around. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be starting a video series where I actually create stuff live because I can. And let me tell you why I did that, right? Because I realized that I am a creator for real. That's what I do. Like that's the real who I am deep inside a creator. I love creating things. What I had to learn was I can't create and start all of the things. So I want to create live and give you the opportunity to take what you learn and go and do something with it. I have my plate is full, is running over. But I love creating things and these tools have made me so creative. When I tell y'all I can't draw a straight line, I cannot. Like I can't draw a straight line. I don't know how to back up straight in my car. I just can't. And I've always wanted to be like this artsy person. My husband has bought me pottery wheels. He's bought me, I got paint sets, all of these because I want to be creative. This computer and AI, yeah, that's where I shine. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying I can't draw a straight line, but I know how to use a computer and I can come up with some amazing ideas. And I got 3 of them. So go check out aiworkforcedevelopment.org. And that's our certification program through the chamber. I'm working on the AI workforce engine. It's almost ready. I think I got one thing. Well, it may be ready. I think I have one thing left to add to that. And that's for chamber presidents, economic development partners. Because if you don't know how to implement these things into your community, how are you going to help? I'm community driven. So I'm always looking at how can we help the community do what they need to do. And this is not just for Gwinnett County where I live. These tools that I'm creating is for any county, any state, any town. If you are interested in figuring out what can I do to help my county become AI ready, I just created something for you. So it's called AI Workforce Engine. I will be demoing that at the Georgia AI Summit. So if you have not got your ticket yet, get your ticket and come out because you're going to want to see it because it's going to help you with your community. All right. I got to go. It is the weekend. I will be back again next Friday with another great guest right here on the Good Morning Gwinnett show talking AI. And then after that, after we finish this whole guest series, I'm going to go live bringing you AI businesses, ideas, and I'm going to create live right in front of you. Why? Because the tools are there. And I know somebody saying, Audrey, I don't know how. Watch the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Facebook. That way, when I'm creating these things, because let me tell you something, when I create them live, somebody's going to say, I'm about to go start that business. She just showed me how to do it. I'm about to go create that thing. She just showed me how to do it. I'm going to be doing that. And that's exciting for me because I think that the tools are amazing. I think that it's changing the game. I think that AI is a great equalizer. And I feel like it's going to give people the opportunity to do some amazing things. I have another thing that I'm working on. And I'm gonna, it's not released to the public just yet. I just released it to my AI group on Facebook. Hopefully they got it and they're ready to get started. Because I'm taking 100 beta users. But you got to be in the AI Founders Network over on Facebook. So once I, get my people together on that side, I'm going to open it up to the public. But this is something that I feel is going to help people understand that I can start something on the side as a side hustle and make money without knowing how to write code, without being techie. All I need to do is say, I like this one, let me start it. And then they can go start it. So we're going to be helping them do that. And because I feel like this is a great equalizer. I feel like this is a time for us to actually take these tools and use these tools and, do great things. So anyway, I got to go and I will be back next Friday with another great guest. So remember, subscribe to the channel, connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, everything on the Good Morning Gwinnett. That's how you can reach me. All right, you guys stay safe out there. And until next time, my friends, until next time, make it a great day. Bye, everybody.
You've been watching or listening to the Good Morning Gwinnett show hosted by Audrey Bell-Kearney, Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the show today and share it with your friends by going to www.goodmorninggwinnett.com.